Hello, everyone. It's Dman number 5, and today I'm here to talk about Across the Spider-Verse that is now in theaters. Um, so first thing I'm going to talk about is what I thought about the first one. I really love the first one. I thought it was a really big game changer, not just for Spider-Man, but for animation in general. I thought it was a really beautiful film. I thought the story was simple but complex, and the characters all felt relatable. Um, and I was never a big Miles Morales fan before the movie. And when I heard about that they were gonna make him the main character, I was like, okay. I mean, there's not really much to do with him. I mean, his character's kind of all over the place. He's mainly just in Spider-Man's shadow the entire time. But that the first movie changed everything for him, and I he's probably one of my favorite Spider-Man characters of all time. So I really love the first one, and going into this one, I really didn't have any like sorry. I really didn't have any expectations for it except like who was going to be in it. And if you can see on my screen, there's one character that we were hoping to see. And if you're wondering, spoilers, by the way, Spectacular Spider Man is in it. He has two lines of dialogue, and they are really good. He's really good when he's brought in. The cameos, by the way, they don't use a whole lot of the characters that we were hoping, but they use some of them in a pretty good way. I'll go off the cameos right now just to get out of the way. We have PS. I'm not gonna say like. We have PlayStation Spider-Man who makes a cameo. Ben Riley makes a cameo, and it's not just cameo. He actually plays a part near the end of the film to look for Miles Morales. Spectacular is in the movie, and he has some lines. He actually interacts with Miles, which is pretty cool. But it's not like very big. It's mainly like for a second, but it's a really good interaction. Unlimited Spider-Man, he's in there, but he's mainly in the background for a little bit. He doesn't say that much. 2099 Spider-Man, Miguel O'Hara, really good. Oscar Isaac played a really good 2099, and he came off as threatening, but also really cool. The soundtrack in this movie is awesome. I love every character's theme. I love the animation. The animation in this movie in Across the Spider no, yeah, in Across the Spider-Verse now uh, is so good. They really up the ante with the animation and like it not just the animation itself, the dialogue, the emotion, the characters now. Like when they start the movie not with Miles, they actually start off with Gwen's perspective, and it's really emotional. And I felt like Gwen's struggle in the movie and everything. I felt Miles's struggle and like the complications that come with just being Spider-Man and with being a kid as well and growing up. It's like wow, and this movie's really heavy. Like, the way that it is heavy is some of the characters swear more, which isn't a problem. It's just like, oh, they swear, okay, and yeah, like yeah, this movie's they really up the ante with this one, and I really like that, because that's what you always want a sequel. But it was really good. I had a really good time with this movie, um, and I loved all the emotion. I loved all the characters. Spider Punk is by far my favorite. He is so funny. I love that. I love his animation style. It's done in like uh, it's very punk rock, and his whole character is like rebel against the man, and it's really funny. They use that as not just as a joke, but like as like a good way to like define his character. Like even he's like, yeah, I'm in the group, but like I really don't like it, and he leaves before like shit gets crazy. So like it's pretty cool, and I love it. And he's even on Miles's side, which is nice because it almost seems like no one is on his side, and it's nice to see that like Gwen, who like Miles thinks like Gwen's not even on his side, but she really is. And that's the thing in this movie, the characters are put into tough situations where like whose side do you pick? That's another thing I like about this movie. There is Miguel's not the bad guy, if you're wondering. Miguel's not the bad guy. He's just like put in a tough situation. It's kind of like Infinity War. Like all these characters are put in tough situations where they just don't know what to do, where they can't make the right choice, where everything like ends, where everything is like a happy ending, and it's really really sad. And Miles kind of like says there is an option, but it leads into like a really like it'll lead to like bad things to happen, which is something that we don't want. But yeah. Anyways, I love the movie. I love all the characters who show up are really funny. Jessica Drew, um, I I don't know. Like I thought she was fine. It's just I thought she was being a little bit too hard on Gwen. Like Miguel, I get like he's supposed to be the one. Like if there's one person who should be like tough on all the characters, it should be Miguel. I don't think Jessica Drew should be tough on her. And if you're wondering who Jessica Drew is, she's this Spider Woman right here. She's the one who rides the motorcycle and everything. And I like Jessica Drew's Spider Woman. Like, I think her character is really cool in the comics. I just like if she, like she's supposed to be Gwen's mentor, as Gwen says in the movie, then she should like be a little bit more understanding. I don't think she should be like really this tough on them. And we have some returning characters like Gwen, Miles, and Peter B. Parker, who plays a good enough role. I just wish we kind of got to see more of him. Oh, another thing in this movie, not a lot of Peter Parker. Not a lot of Peter Parker. It is mainly just Gwen, Miles, and two other versions of Spider-Man who are not Peter Parker, which is kind of refreshing. And I wasn't really, and it's another thing about this movie. I wasn't like going, can we get to the cameos? Can we like get to like the big ending or the climax and stuff like that. No, I want to see like how these characters are gonna deal with their situations, and it's really fun. I like it when a movie does that because for a movie like this, and it's like teasing that you're gonna have spectacular and PlayStation Spider-Man. Many people are gonna be like, "Can we get to the cameos?" And that's something that like the MCU has really like not really focused on. Like that's mainly what we look forward to now in the MCU. In this movie, I want to know more about Miles. I want to know more about Gwen. I want to know what's going on in their lives. I want to know how they're going to solve these problems. Like Gwen's situation in the movie is so heartbreaking. She has to leave her dad after her dad finds out that she's Spider Woman, and like you think like, oh, she would like her dad would understand. No, he doesn't. It's so sad. I want her to make up for dad by the end. Oh, by the way, fathers in this movie play a little bit of a role. So what happens is that um, and here I'm just gonna like go through like I'm just gonna talk about the movie. Just gonna talk about everything that I can talk about, and that'll be it. But for the rating of the movie, I'm just gonna leave it at this. I give it 9.5 out of 10. I'll tell you why at the end. But for right now, let's talk about what the main problems that are being caused in the movie. So there's a new villain called the Spot, and he's trying to be Miles' nemesis, and Miles is like, you're not. But the backstory of the Spot is really funny. So the Spot is the guy who Miles hit with a bagel in the last movie, and he became a supervillain. I can't remember the exact it's Spider-Man stuff. He's a scientist who got like radioactive stuff on him, became a supervillain. Um, and Miles doesn't really take him seriously, but throughout the movie, he starts to become like a major threat. And I don't know how to describe the Spot. I can only say that he's got like a Bill Cipher type thing. Like he looks funny, he sounds friendly, but deep down, he's a dark, horrifying person. And I love villains like that. And when I first heard that they were going to make the Spot the villain, I was like, why the hell is the Spot the villain? That's like the least known Spider-Man like villain ever. Like the last time the Spot was used in like cartoon was I think the 90s Spider-Man TV series. That's it. But but when they use him, it's really cool. And the animation on him is so cool. The animation in this movie is so beautiful. Gwen's universe is so beautiful with the water color painting. It's mwah, this movie's chef kiss of animation. Uh, Music, top, really good. Another good soundtrack that I immediately added to my playlist. Uh, and so the dilemma of the movie. So I'm just gonna get down to like why Miguel doesn't want Miles to join the club or to join the Spider Force. So here's the twist. The reason why Miguel doesn't want Miles to join is because Miles was never supposed to be Spider Man. The reason why is because the spider that bit Miles was from another universe. And if you remember in the last movie, the spider that bit him was glitching. So that meant he was from another universe. So the spider that was supposed to bite Miles was supposed to bite Miles in another dimension. And now that dimension doesn't have a Spider Man, and Miles became Spider Man. And the Spider Man in Miles' universe was never supposed to die. So Miguel has been trying to fix everything since then, and he blames Miles. That is so good, and that's such a good like situation. That's such a good problem for Miles to solve, and that gives Miguel a good reason like why he shouldn't let him into the group. Because I ever since like it was revealed that Miguel was fighting Miles, I was like, what the hell did Miles do? And that's really cool. And also the fact that Miles was never supposed to be Spider Man, uh, is I don't know. I like that idea that he took that from someone, and we find out who the other who the other Miles Morales is, and it's really cool because in the end, Miles travels to the dimension where that spider was supposed to bite him. It turns out that the alternate version of Miles was turned out to be the Prowler. Like That's really cool. And Miles is trapped there with him. And it left on such a good cliffhanger. I was like, wow, that's really cool. And like the whole like other universe that Miles travels to that doesn't have a Spider-Man, it's completely Back to the Future Part Two. Biff took over, dark apocalyptic type stuff. It's really really interesting. Um, Another big dilemma is canon events. Now, canon events, the only way how I can describe it is like how the TVA worked in Loki. They are here to fix Nexus events and keep the timeline from breaking. Now, the only way how Spider Verse does it is that they only do it for other dimensions events so that that dimension doesn't break, and that's really cool. So that way, it's not like a big whole catastrophic. The entire timeline will break, which is really nice. And the thing that's the problem is with those kind of events is it's mainly when a loved one dies, and it's also when the police captain dies. Now, how it starts is oh god, I'm gonna butcher the name. I'm just gonna point to it. It's this Spider-Man universe that's like the spot attacks, and this Spider-Man's universe is like it's falling apart basically. Like the city's about to like collapse, and all the Spider-Mans try, and some of the Spider-Man like Miles, Gwen, and Spider-Punk try to help out, and then Miles sees that the police captain of that universe is going to get hurt and die by saving the child. So Miles goes in to save him, but Gwen doesn't want him to. But we think that Gwen doesn't want him to get hurt, but really it's so that she can prevent the canon event from happening. And that's really cool. That's a good twist. This movie has a lot of good twists. And I like that you think, oh, and also they do mention this earlier with all the other characters, with all the other like police captain fathers who are mentioned. They're all getting promoted to chief, and you're like, oh, he's gonna get promoted, then he's gonna die. And they play with the cliche. I love it when you play with a cliche. That's really fun. Don't just let it be the cliche. Play with it a little bit. And Miles is trying to prevent it from happening to his dad because his dad's about to be promoted to captain. And Miles like wants to prevent because he knows like the spot is going to be the cause of it, but no one can tell him when it's, but no one can let him prevent it because it will destroy his universe. But then it's going to cause more problems. It's causing more drift in every single character, and I love it. I love this movie, and I love its dilemmas. This movie is great. I think it was really fun, and it's really emotional. Like I was getting choked up with some scenes. Um, I like that the mother, like Miles's mom, gets more to do in this movie. She plays a bigger role too, which is really nice. The dad's kind of put aside, but he plays a big enough role. I love the scene with Miles and his dad when Miles is like Spider-Man and he's talking to him. He's like, maybe you should let your kid spread his wings like this. I think that's a really nice scene. I like the talk that Miles has with his mom about him trying to tell him that he's Spider-Man, but he can't. But she lets him go hang out with Gwen. I think that's really nice. Uh, yeah. What else can I say about this movie? It's really good. The Spot probably I regret like making fun of him. I should have just let it happen, but really good choice of a villain. His animation is so good, but it's also so scary. Okay, my reason for the 9.5 out of 10. The It's mainly about rewatching. So, what I like about the first one is you can rewatch it anytime. Like if it came on TV, I would immediately sit down and start watching, no matter where it is. With this one, it's too epic. It's almost a little bit too long. I just can't. It's like the only way how I can like compare it and give a good like reason. Um, so this movie is like Infinity War and the last movie into Spider Verse is like Age of Ultron. You can sit down and watch Age of Ultron and not feel like too epic or like feel like too much emotion, and you'll still have a good time. And you can just like watch it whenever it's happening. But if you sit down watching Infinity War, you really have to be in a certain mood to watch it. That's my only thing. But again, I love this movie. 10 out of 10. I can't wait for the sequel. I'm so excited. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have anything, if you want to tell me anything that I missed, or if you want a more better review, uh, or just want to say hi, leave it down in the comments. This is Dman number 5. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.